going to see a story from Cait Kinder.
Hello, I'm Cait Kinder.
Yay!
I'm sure many of you know about chasing your dreams and doing things that scare you. That's what this story is about. So I grew up with a very superstitious and strong-willed Hispanic grandmother, all right? So, as a little girl, she wanted me to be afraid of everything. Literally every little thing. I mean, there was a story about a head rolling around in her basement that kept us all upstairs probably until I was about 15 years old. So you can imagine when I told her I was moving to New York City for school, that was not very easy for her to handle. You see, we were told, don't go anywhere alone, you're a girl, you can't handle this, you can't do that alone. Do everything with somebody by your side. So when I told her I was going to New York City, she it was like a process of grief. First, understanding, accepting. I still don't think that she ever accepted that part, but I figured, I grew up in Rockford, Illinois. Anybody who knows that, I didn't think New York was much of a difference. And I went there strong. It was really nothing for almost the entire 2 years I was there. But, so I'm doing my thing. I was working at a Michael's out there, so I'm working retail, and you can imagine that got pretty spicy at times with people. And I mean, that's the only Michael's I've worked at that had a security guard 24 hours, even when we were closed. So even then, I was like, okay, I got this. I would FaceTime my grandma. I'd be like, nothing bad happened. I walked to the subway. The subway? What? Why are you riding the subway? That's the only way to get around in New York. Stinky, but it gets you there fast, sometimes. And when it's not raining and flooding. But she was still scared, pretty scared, but every day I would call her, reassure her, nothing bad has happened yet, it's New York. I was living in Manhattan at the time, so I was like, okay, this is like the nicer side, I guess. And then they moved us to Brooklyn in the second semester, and my God, she about had a heart attack. But again, it wasn't the bad side or anything. Nothing bad happened. And then get through the first year, everything's fine. I'm really on a high horse here. I'm like, nothing bad. Like worse has happened in Rockford, Illinois, which is not so surprising. So, and then second year comes around, getting close to graduation. I'm going to work. I'm like, okay, I'm almost there. Nothing has happened. I can proudly say nobody's attacked me on the subway. Nobody stole my wallet. Nobody's walked up and slapped me in the face. That was a thing when I was in school there. But I get there, it's about 2 weeks until graduation. I have a shift. I'm riding the subway. I'm like, I got there early for once instead of taking me 5 blocks past my stop. And I'm like, I can stop at Dunkin', get a coffee. Not a big fan of Dunkin' after this experience as well. I'm waiting in line. There's a homeless man in there asking for money. I was a student. I barely had money for my coffee. Felt bad. But there was a mean old man just yelling at this poor homeless guy. And I'm not one to stand up for myself, let alone anybody. But this poor homeless man, and this old man's just going at him. I'm kind of like, okay, let me get my coffee and get out of here. I get my coffee, I'm waiting in line. I go get it, and then I go to leave, and the old man drops a $1 bill. I'm pretty sure it was $1. Something green. So I'm from Illinois, the Midwest, I'm going to be kind and pick it up and give him his money that he dropped. Man, As soon as I touch that dollar, this homeless man shoulder checks me, knocking my coffee all over me. The dollar flew. The old man was already out the door, but somehow came back in, starts chasing the homeless man down the street. I'm just kind of standing there in shock, covered in hot coffee, and I have to go to work. I'm running late at this point, and so I go in, I'm covered in coffee. There's really no time to like clean up at all. And the bathrooms there, even at Michael's, were not, you didn't want to be in there. You probably would feel dirtier walking out. So I go to work, I'm working, and I'm like, what is that god-awful smell? I put deodorant on. I've rolled the subway many times. I don't ever smell this bad after the subway, but you do after the subway. Not that bad, but my goodness, I kept smelling my armpits. I kept just like smelling my hair, and that's when I was like, oh my God, that is Dunkin's coffee after a 5.5-hour shift, and I still have a while to go. So I'm like, I am never drinking Dunkin' coffee again. So I finally get home, I shower, and I'm sitting there just self-reflecting because man did that humble me. And so my grandma had passed away right before I graduated, so I did not get to tell her about the bad time that New York gave me, thank God. She would have flew there and picked me up herself. So that is my story on how New York finally humbled me. And then I went home 2 weeks later and I went back here. Questions? Improv. Alan.
I got a two-parter.
Alrighty.
I want a superstition that your grandmother had.
Oh my God, okay. Well, you know, if you were sick or had a headache or anything, she would, which I feel like this is not just a Hispanic superstition, but she would roll up some paper, stick it in your ear, and light it on fire. You know, if you had a headache or you thought someone was talking bad about you, your ear was ringing for 3 hours, she would light that fire, and it would get really close to your head before she finally tapped it out, you know. Thank you, I'm sorry. There's that. There's the old rolling an egg over your head. On your feet. And you don't tickle a baby's feet, otherwise they'll grow up and have a stutter. Not that that's a bad thing. That's what happened to me. All right, part two.
What is the craziest shit you saw in New York?
Oh my God, okay. Ooh, you got time, you might want to take a seat. Well, there was a time I was on the subway. Are there any children in here? There was a man, and he, oh my gosh, I probably should have moved at some point, but I was just in shock. He had just some tin foil, and he was not smoking weed out of it, I'll say that. The whole little cart smelled so bad. I probably should have moved, honestly.
That's how we met.
That is how I met Jay. But yeah, that's probably one of the craziest.
What were you studying when you were in New York?
I was studying television and film, but they taught us improv, dance. It was a performing arts degree, so they really shoved as much information about performing in there as they could in 2 years.
What was the school?
It was the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts.
Okay, yeah. Heck yeah.
Yes.
Snap.
Any other questions? No? Nope. All right.
Thanks, Cait. I'm the final story of the night. Don't get too excited, it's the worst one. Everyone else had jokes in theirs. That was awesome. That was like a good time. Mine's gonna be okay. We'll see. So my story starts when I'm 8 years old, and I met the woman that would eventually become the love of my life. She was 16. We didn't get married then. Don't worry. Nothing weird happened. But I knew then that she was like the coolest person I'd ever met. Like, it didn't matter what gender she was. She was like, she drew comic books. She played with toys. She was willing to spend time with me as an 8-year-old, and then she had cool pets like rats and lizards and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is the coolest person like who's ever lived. I wrote her name in glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling, like just up there. Yeah, no, that's the least creepy part of that story to my wife. She's like, well, that's sweet. I didn't like that you were crushing on me as a child. Like, that's what it is. She went off and had her own adventures, but for the next few years, it kind of started like a really bad downturn in my life. Like there was just thing after thing. Like my parents got divorced, my brother had open heart surgery, my grandma died. I didn't really care about that too much, but it was like, she wasn't great. She's not your grandma. I had 2 of them. Neither one of them liked me. My dog died. It was just, I was being introduced to things that were like new for a kid. Like I didn't realize people went away for forever. And then years and years later, you would think that all of those things would prepare me for when I'm 16 and now my brother has been diagnosed with cancer. So he got a melanoma from a sunburn, I think from a water park that we went to, and we kept telling him to get it checked out. And we kept telling him, and we kept telling him, and then he bled through his jerseys, and he was like, this is a problem. It's ruining my merchandise that's expensive. I'm gonna get this looked at. It was a lot of cancer by then. It was a lot. And so then he ended up dying when I was 18. And that's the bummer, but don't worry, it gets better. Like, so my wife now, at the time, she had come back to help us plan the funeral, which was very nice. And she brought along this other person who I had not met yet, her son Jaden, he's right over there. And of course, funeral planning is not fun for a 5-year-old. I don't know any 5-year-old who's like, yeah, somebody died. Let's figure out the floral. So he's bored. I also don't want to acknowledge it. I am in the stage of grief that a lot of people go through, which was the denial part. Like, oh, this isn't happening. And I was also like a little bit into anger already. So I've got this kid, he's bored, I don't want to deal with it. And we start playing video games, and it takes my mind off of it. He's letting them plan it. And thankfully that brought me into their stratosphere. And this boy, after the funeral, would keep calling me. Well, I was busy trying to be at home depressed. Like, I'd be awoken really early in the morning, like 11 a.m. I was unemployed, and he would be just this sweet little voice on my cell phone, and he would go, Bobo? That's my middle name. Bobo, do you want to bring me McDonald's and play video games? And I, like, who says no? Like, so I come over to their house all the time. We're playing video games, I'm taking them out, we're doing stuff. Eventually, you know, her and I build a relationship, we get married. Woo! That's the fun part. Right? But I still wasn't like processing anything that I had dealt with. And so my life, while going upwards, was maintaining my mental health was on a downward spiral. It got to the point where I just really didn't want to live. Like, it's not suicidal, I didn't want to like self-harm, but like, I didn't want to participate. Like, I didn't want to really do anything. Because just like, why? And then we took this really, really fun trip. We ended up in Hawaii. And it's me, and my son, and my wife, and my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, John and Wendy. They're super lovely people. Very, just straight-laced, good Wisconsin folk. Just, would you like a brandy slush and a cheese tray? Good Wisconsin people. They don't really, the dark humor is not really a big thing. My mother-in-law famously laughed at a joke I made about abortions, where I pretended to be a guy who had a baby chipper. I was like, she likes that one? Like, that's crazy. I just imagine some guy in the hospital just pushing it like, baby chipper? Oh, you're going to keep it? Okay. baby chipper? Just kidding. Right, so like she likes that one. We're in Hawaii for a while, we're enjoying beautiful scenery, but me, at that time, I still did not like quiet, because quiet brings the thoughts, it brings the bad thoughts, and I don't want the bad thoughts. So then I talk too much. They tolerate my talking. We're seeing all these beautiful beaches, and on these beautiful beaches there are signs, and the signs say, when in doubt, don't go out. It's a reference to not going into big waves or high tides, because you will die. Like, Hawaii's ocean's so crazy, it's just like, yeah, don't touch it. Like Alan could go into the LA and be like, oh, this fucking sucks. But like, you could not do that in Hawaii, you would get swept up. And so there's all these signs everywhere, and I was my bad brain, and I go, but, like, what if life's not going great? Like, when in doubt, does anyone really call you anymore? When in doubt, were your parents ever that proud of you? And this is getting some pretty solid chuckles from the people who are like, cheese tray and brandy slush. And I'm like, that's great, it's a great formula I made up. I like this formula, it's fantastic. And we continue our day, a few more creative ones pop up. When in doubt, do you really like your job? And so we're at dinner that night, and my mother-in-law is being sincere, and she goes, you know, this is a beautiful place. And she said, Michael, did Nick ever get to experience anything like this before he died? And I was like, no, we were poor. And also he died really young. And it kind of brought down the table, and I'm like, well, I'm good at comedy. I remember a joke formula from earlier, let me try it out again. Let me see if I can save the night. And I go, when in doubt, I guess the chemo didn't work out. Yeah, see, this is what I hoped would happen. Half of you laughed, some of you cringed, and my wife is still irritated. It's the best. So my son, Jaden, is dying laughing, because he's like me in the way that if the worst thing possible you could say gets said, that's the funniest thing in the world. And he is crying. The server's coming by? Oh, no, never mind. Okay, you guys are all right. And everybody, my in-laws are just dead silent, just eating quietly. Because again, nice people. They don't want to tell me my joke bummed them out. And that night, I was like, well, I really should work on my delivery and my humor. And I decided then that, like, after that trip, I wanted to participate in life again. I was like, I'm ready, like, take me in. And so then I signed up for improv classes, and me and my son went and did those, and then we started that across the hall here 2 years ago. And so this whole show, we're wrestling champions. He talks about it a lot. We started that, and this came into the show, and I just really, like, I wanted to show my gratitude and my thanks to that journey and all of the different things that I experienced, because if I hadn't had all the bad stuff, like, I wouldn't have the really weird sense of humor I have, and then I also wouldn't have gotten these fun experiences with all of you people. So that's it. That's the whole thing. Any questions? No? All right. Pretty straightforward. Let's see some cancer jokes.
Oh, honey. Are you guys trying to beat the Super Mario 3s again?
Yeah, I get to be Luigi. He loves being Mario. It's perfect.
I hate being second player.
Don't worry, honey. This sounds like one of my superstitions. Hold on, you grab it.
Your mom's it's really weird. What's she doing with those pizza rolls?
She likes to sniff them to make sure that they smell normal. Sometimes when they've been out for longer than 5 hours, they go bad. Oh, don't worry about that. It helps to keep your skin nice and smooth.
I'm not.
It helps keep you from getting melanoma.
Let it drizzle.
It works 100%, trust me. Ooh, look, it's Bowser!
Ooh.
Don't move, honey.
Oh, jumping! But Mom, I don't remember this one. What's this for?
That gets rid of the crabs, honey.
Boing, boing. Boing, boing. Boing.
Hello.
Hi, Bobo.
Hey, Jaden.
Hi, Bobo. When are you gonna make all those video games? I
I
haven't seen you in 20 minutes.
just got home. I'm sorry, Jaden. Do you want a 6-piece or a 4-piece?
I want a 20-piece and we'll split it with you, Bobo.
For you, Jaden, I would do anything. Even in the future, I would take improv classes and have a ball.
And then we would win the wet wee wampy shit.
What's that, Jaden?
I just really want McDonald's.
I love you too, buddy. I love you too.
When is Grandma
Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you. I really do appreciate everybody who came. This has been in the works for like 2 years that I thought about trying to do this. So it really means a lot that you all made it. And it really means a lot that we had all these wonderful people. Shane Chesney.